Okay. Can we see that okay?
I can see that.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, Stacy, and thank you for having me today. Katie and I, we just kind of put together some slides from, like I said, our summer bookkeeper update training to highlight key details and to give a quick look at what's shared with the administrative staff and bookkeepers during this training. So these training sections are also recorded and available on our website, specifically the section for direct certification. So it's pretty detailed. And today will be just, like I said, a brief overview. But I'll go ahead and start just by introducing the Child Nutrition System, or the CNP system. This is our web-based platform used to manage various USDA-funded nutrition programs. And so this system houses the direct certification module that allows districts to upload student rosters, receive eligibility data, and automatically update meal benefit statuses. So this slide here is what the direct certification system homepage looks like in CNP. And from here, this is where users can access their key functions like uploading their enrollment, accessing their match list, and other program-specific tools essential for the certification process. So I'll begin by reviewing the enrollment section. And so that is our orange slide here. And so, oh, go ahead.
I just want to clarify because last time we had some questions about where the system is located. Now, this is a completely different system. It's not incorporated in the portal or anything like that. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. So if schools have new administration, they will fill out an authorized representative form for us, a computer access form, and their login information is then provided to get into this system. So that's usually your principal, superintendent, maybe your someone in the administrative staff would have access to this. And so any schools participating in the school lunch program would have access to this.
Thank you.
Yep. So then from that system, they get into the direct certification tab that shows them that enrollment home, or the direct certification homepage. And so this enrollment tile, as Stacy mentioned before, there's two ways to upload enrollment. And so one of those is through Advisor Person ID. And in our presentation, we always note that this is the preferred method for submitting student data, but not all staff may be the responsible individual for managing this. So we've been finding more and more that the district bookkeepers are not always the same individual to manage Advisor Person ID, and then therefore are encouraged to reach out to their data steward responsible for this. But as an alternative method, they can use this orange enrollment tile to upload enrollment, and it allows both public and non-public entities to upload the student records for matching. But this process requires a designated template, and the file uploads into CNP may begin on July 1st as data is cleared out end of June, that first day of July, and then new matches will start really on July 2nd for matching. And so once you've selected that orange enrollment tile, the user has two submission options. They can upload through that Excel template or through individual student records. And so we focus a lot on that Excel spreadsheet for a smooth and efficient upload, as schools are usually uploading large numbers of students at the very beginning of the school year. So the required template is available directly under that enrollment tile. You just click that link and download that Excel file, and then you can start to enter your student information. Again, the template is required, and users must not be creating their own spreadsheet for the upload. So the enrollment template requires complete and accurate data for each student, including a valid 3-digit school building number, their first name, last name, gender, birth date, and the unique 10-digit NDE student ID. So Advisor Person ID is very important when it comes to this, because that student data must match and all of those columns must be filled out except for that optional local student ID. But any missing, incorrect, or incomplete entries, such as blank cells, nicknames, or formatting errors, can result in some upload failures. So we do have a helpful handout available to assist with this proper formatting in the enrollment template, and a copy is included here in one of my slides later on for reference. So then I'll just jump to.
Aspen, while you're on that screen,
Yeah.
I just want to point out that we've been working with a lot of different people on advisor person ID uploads and the templates. And I just want to point out that your template only has like A through G columns, and that requires you have to have the student ID already, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
And I have some screenshots here of the errors if you don't have your NDE ID and instructions moving forward on what to do in that situation. But
Okay, so the way
yeah.
to tell the difference between the two templates, I guess, is where I was going, is ours has several more columns,
Oh,
probably like 10 more columns, and you're able to upload without the student ID because the system will create the upload for when you upload, and if you leave the ID blank, it will create the ID for that student, which this template, it doesn't work and it only goes into your CMP. They don't work in both systems, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that's what I've had people trying to use the same template for both systems.
oh, okay. Yes. That would, yep, that would make sense. Yep. This is just specific to the CMP system. Some other tips for a successful upload here is to make sure the file is saved as an Excel file or a CSV file, making sure this is correctly saved and following those guidelines outlined there in the template header will ensure that you have a successful upload. And then once the student data is prepared for upload and the file is correctly formatted and saved in the file format as the Excel file or the CSV, users should then proceed by choosing the file button, then locating and selecting your enrollment file. Once that name appears, you can go ahead and select the green upload tile to submit, and the data will then be processed and entered into the system for matching. And this next slide should show an example of what a successful upload would look like. So you can verify that your upload is successful by checking the submitted student enrollment records. These records will be displayed as entered into your spreadsheet. And just a reminder here to confirm that the record count matches your enrollment list to ensure accuracy. So the number on your enrollment record really should match the results, the number of results shown there, kind of on the right-hand side underneath that red highlighted box. So that ensures that all of your students have been uploaded and are going into the system for matching. So this slide shows what some possible errors or a lot of the common errors that we see when districts are trying to upload. So watch for errors highlighted in orange. As I mentioned earlier, this is where if you upload your file and you don't have that NDE student ID, it will highlight that. So you can use that filter to view only the errors, and users can then access advisor person ID if needed to obtain that correct NDE student ID. And then you can upload as many rosters as needed. So you could upload a roster with just those students in error, and then those will be corrected once that upload is successful. We ask that you avoid uploading your entire student enrollment again, as this will create duplicates. If you want to keep a clean list, you're only uploading those students that were maybe in error. And then other common errors that you might see might be that yellow error message. This indicates issues with the file type, formatting, or maybe an internet connection. So you'll just want to retry your upload double check your roster to make sure there's no formatting issues. If you still run into errors with this, you can contact us for help and we can look into that. And always check for blank rows or cells, as this can block processing. If fewer records appear than expected, maybe you have 60 students and you're only seeing 15, you'll again want to go back and review that file to make sure there's no spaces or anything that's empty that would prevent the full file from uploading. So common enrollment record errors, and again, this would be specific to that Excel template through CMP. So this slide highlights frequent issues that may affect successful data submission. You'd want to ensure that your school building codes are entered as a 3-digit number, such as 001 or 002, and this aligns with the building number and advisor person ID. But any single digit entries would cause an upload error. Any inconsistent or mismatched names may prevent accurate student matching. You'll want to review or remove any duplicate students. And as discussed earlier, each student must have that valid 10-digit NDE ID assigned through advisor person ID. Any errors or omissions will prevent students from appearing on your match list, so just double check for accuracy there. And when entering male or female, you'll want to only enter the letter M or F. If you spell that out, it will result in an error. And files must be saved and uploaded in Excel or CSV. So just confirm that format before uploading. And some of this may seem very straightforward. However, we see a lot of discrepancies in student information that will cause errors. So users should always refer to advisor person ID just to ensure that that information is accurate. This is our resource that we've created just to help with some upload instructions. It covers everything from your formatting requirements to any step-by-step instructions for your upload process. And then we've just kind of created a timeline to support accurately and timely matches that includes some key dates. So for non-public school food authorities, they may begin updating student records using the preferred method of via advisor person ID beginning on or after June 1st. But if utilizing the alternate method of uploading those through CMP, then those rosters can begin being uploaded July 1st. And then always continue with regular updates through July through June, as nightly matches rely on that current enrollment data for accurate results.
Aspen, if they use advisor person ID and they have uploaded a new student, does it automatically just send that information to your system, or how does that communicate that?
We have found that, yes, in the match list, advisor person ID, if they've uploaded that student there, they will show up on the green match list tile here in either method. That answers your question. I was thinking of an error that we had recently, but I am drawing a blank, so I will see if I remember that as I'm walking through this.
Well, I was just wondering if it shows up like odd, like does it take a few hours for the two systems to communicate, or does it take an overnight process for them to communicate? So let's say I'm a data steward, a new student walks in today. I put them in advisor person ID because I need to find their student ID, or I have to create it. And once I put in my school information on that student information and advisor person ID, does it show up in your
It wouldn't show up right away. It would be an overnight process.
It would take overnight.
Yes.
So if I left it and was like, okay, I'm going to check on that in my CMP tomorrow, it should be there.
It should be there. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. So then once we've successfully uploaded our enrollment, so we can then go to that green match list tile. And again, the system performs nightly matching automatically. So then to review your results, you'll wait until the following day after you've uploaded your roster. And from that green match list tile, you'll then be able to access your match list. You'll be able to look up individual students and review possible matches. And so the match list displays students who qualify for free or reduced price meal benefits through direct certification. And if a student appears on the list, then no further action is required for them to receive those benefits. They're automatically qualified. The bookkeeper would then send the letter to the family notifying them that they've been directly certified and would not need to complete the meal application. Some other key points: once a student is matched, their eligibility is valid for the entire school year, including that carryover period, regardless of any changes in household circumstances. So benefits can increase during the year. Say they might be directly certified as reduced at the beginning of the year. Maybe it's increased to free. You can go ahead and increase that. However, if maybe they drop off from the list for some reason, which we don't see this often, they would still receive that benefit that they were directly certified for at the beginning of the year. And then to view your most recent match date for your district, you can just check the bottom right-hand corner of that green match list tile. So this date is highlighted in red there on the screen. So matches will appear under this file for both the advisor person ID uploads and your CMP system uploads. So you can check that last list date just to make sure you're on track with those dates. If you've received any new matches, those individuals responsible for the direct certification list should also receive email notifications notifying them of any new matches. Sometimes we recommend not to heavily rely on that email notification, and that you're checking this match list frequently, especially right at the beginning of the school year, to make sure that you're getting those students those benefits. And this next slide shows what your match list will look like after selecting that green match list tile. So you will see your students who have been directly certified for benefits, and each entry will include your match date and your qualifying program. The print list function does not work on here. So to print, you'll just want to export the list to the Excel and then print from there. And we recommend saving and printing the match list regularly, as those new matches are added nightly. This is, again, a key resource for efficiently tracking and managing your student benefit eligibility. And then users may accept, transfer, or remove students from the match list. These actions are optional and do not affect benefit eligibility. So even if you don't do anything here, students will still receive benefits and appear on other districts' match lists if needed. And these tools help keep your list organized. And then an action report, including comments, is also available both for the current and prior years to support record keeping. And then I just provided this slide, as it's important with which benefits qualify and which ones are household extended and which ones are student specific. So in the direct certification system, students qualify through one of 8 programs. Most, except for foster, migrant, and homeless, allow benefits to extend to other students within that same household. So for example, if one child qualifies for SNAP, their siblings are also eligible. In contrast, if a student qualifies through foster, migrant, and homeless or homeless, those designations are student specific and would not extend to other students in the household. And among these programs, Medicaid Reduced is the only one that provides reduced meals, while all others qualify students for free meals. And students are always matched for the highest priority program. For instance, if a student qualifies for both FDPIR and SNAP, they'll be matched under SNAP, as it's the highest priority. And so this kind of wraps up the slides that I had for today. Again, a very brief overview of the information provided in our training. The direct certification is a vital tool for identifying those eligible students and ensuring that they receive those benefits. So if you have questions or need further assistance, you can always contact our team, but I'm also here to answer any questions that you might have. I'll go ahead and stop sharing here.
Does anybody have any current questions they want to ask Aspen at this time? Saw somebody wave their hand, but they're not coming off mute. So maybe Mrs. Vogel, I thought maybe had a question, but maybe not. No, she says no. Okay. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and jump into Advisor Person ID. Let me share my screen here. I feel like if we walk through it, it would be a live demonstration here would be easier for everybody. Like I just want to say there's two ways to do direct certification. I feel as a data steward, it would be easier to do it in one spot and one location and doing it in Advisor Person ID instead of making two file uploads to just do the one file upload into Advisor Person ID and letting it transfer over to the CNP program. For me, that would be easier, but there are two options. And the templates, one thing that I have worked on a couple times this week, I guess today's only Monday, last week, was that there was some confusion with the templates. So we have, CNP has their own template, and then we have Advisor has their own template that has a lot more fields that need to be completed if you do a file upload. I recommend to do a file upload. If you have more than 10 students that you need to create new IDs, or if you have to upload your whole school system. We recommend at the NDE to upload your whole school at the beginning of the school year so that there's accurate information being shown. There is a wide variety of agencies that use Advisor Person ID. We have assessment that uses it. We have finance teams that use it. We have our department, the service desk that uses it for data information. And I know some people think that non-publics, we don't do a lot of state reporting, but even with your tracking that information, it helps us determine where that student has gone. So maybe that student has started in a school system. I'm kind of going on a bird trail here, but maybe they started in a public school system, and then they went to a non-public for 5 years, and then all of a sudden they show it back up into another public school system, and so then we're trying to figure out, well, where has the student been in the past 5 years? Did the one public school system just not report them for 5 years and update their information, or where have they been? So if a non-public puts their information in there, that gives us information saying, oh, they went from public to non-public to non-public, non-public. Oh, now they're back in the public school system. So it kind of helps us identify where the students have been. Going back to what I was showing you on the screen, this is the Advisor Resource website with the templates. And there's the guide here that's most recent. It has in the guide, I'm going to pull it up. We have Appendix A, which has the upload file details that you could do, help you complete that template, the spreadsheet to upload that file for the beginning of the school year. And then you can click one of these. Some browsers will download it straight to your computer, and some browsers open it up into a new browser and you don't get the template. So if you have that, the trick is to right click it and click Save Link As, and then it will open up. You can save it as a link into a spreadsheet, and it will open up properly for you. We also have a presentation here to a little overview of Advisor Person ID too. Okay. So is there any questions about the template or the resource page? Okay. I will just keep moving right along then. Um, we have moved Advisor Person ID to the new portal. Um, does anybody on the call not been able to get into the new portal? Not seeing. I am not seeing anybody saying they haven't been able to get in. And so then does everybody have access to Advisor Person ID? Because that has been another big question. How do we get access to Person ID? Because once you create your portal account, you just have your portal account, especially with non-publics, depending on the way that you sign in, you might not even have an educational organization. So does everybody have that? Okay, Lisa said she was having trouble, but Kim has fixed it, so that is good. It does have a very good catching system. Not catching system, a cache system, so it does remember. So if you pull up an error with it, I've learned that I need to clear my browser history and then try to get into the new system again, and then it usually resolves the issue. One of the other things that I uh, like to tell people is to get into Advisor Person ID, you need to click on the Launch app. The tile is not a hot tile, so it's not going to open right away if you just click in this box. You have to click on the Launch app for it to actually open up into the application. And again, we strongly recommend that everybody uploads into at the beginning of the school year. Some school systems might want to upload more than once, especially if you have a lot of mobile population. That way we have accurate information in there. And as Wayne has pointed out, the census, the public school systems have to complete a census report, and they need more and more documentation with that. And so we're being able to utilize Advisor Person ID with the non-publics to be able to see where their students have gone would be very useful in that report that they have to do. And we also have some confusion that post-secondaries, they also have to submit their students into Advisor Person ID. So if you have students attending a post-secondary dual language or dual credit course, it's very important that if you can communicate the person ID with that post-secondary school, so that way they don't create a duplicate ID. We have a lot of duplicate IDs get created that way because the student might use a preferred name instead of their like actual legal name that's an Advisor Person ID. So when they create it, they don't know that the person is using a different name. My example that I like to use is my sister because her legal name is Kimberly and she prefers to be called Kim. So if she fills out documents, most of the time it's going to be Kim, but in Advisor Person ID, she would probably be Kimberly because that's what's on her certificate. So we strongly encourage you to communicate with this post-secondary schools too with the Advisor Person ID. So this is the landing page. And we are going to just use a test student that we have in our system to look at. So I'm going to pull that student up as it's thinking here. There it goes. So we're going to look at the student down here. When you type in looking for a student, the search is going to look for the top 10 matches, the most. So you're always going to get at least 10 matches, whether they are an accurate match or not is not always what happens. I always say look at your match probability and to review the information because each of these things, it's a weird scientific thing on how they are searched. So you should always open it up and review your information to make sure that you have the right student. So when we open up the student, we get more detailed information. Another very common thing that we are having is students that are changing their names, either their last names or their first names, middle names, and that can also create duplicates because people will go in and just create a new one. But if we want them to keep the same person ID if they have changed their name, we would just update the information. And we recommend that you can add it by just manually editing the student. So we could go down here on the back bottom of the screen and we can click on edit student. It will populate the fields and then we can change the name however necessary. So since this is a test student, we can go ahead and change them to what what kind of last name do I want to make this person? So let's just change him to Smith. So we're going to go from Green to Smith, and we are going to leave this other information the same, and we can just hit Update Student. So now when we go back down here on the bottom, it shows that our person information has been updated. We've changed it to Smith, and then it will change this current information that is up here too. Along with making that change, we recommend that you add a note. So I would click on this add a note if it's going to respond to me. It's being slow. There it goes. And then I would just add a note that this received documentation of last name change. And I always put my initials and a date that it happened. And then I go ahead and I save it. And it tells me that it has been added. So then when I go back, now we see that we have an add note and a view note. And so now it gives us the information that I have changed and I'm the one that changed that name. So the reason we ask for that is because there's a lot of different people that use this system. And if you're searching, the students come to your school and you're looking for their information and you're not aware of like a name change or something and you're like, oh, I don't know, this looks like them, but it doesn't have the same last name. If you look at for the view note, it will help you clarify. It also helps us at the NDE when we're doing duplicate reviews, or I know Max has to do stuff with the CNP and the SEBT to match and make sure that students, verifying students, that this information is helpful when we are reviewing. I see chat has a couple. Kim, are there some questions? You just have to stop.
Right now, we're working on, someone has mentioned that their school's not in the list when they're trying to get into the new portal. So I was just looking into the accounts to see if she's been in yet. And it doesn't look, it looks like maybe not. So.
Okay. All right. Will you
Yeah,
stop me if there's
Omaha,
some?
yeah, it would be Omaha Diocese, I have a feeling, so.
Okay. You just stop me if there's something with the advisor perspective.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to keep on talking. So the information that is up here, we get a lot of questions like if the student is mobile and they maybe started at a public school district, then went to a non-public school district, and then come back to a public school district. This enrollment information is going to show what is current for that school year. So this is going to just keep building. So if a student has gone to 3 schools or 3 schools have submitted information down here, this is just going to keep building, and it's going to keep the most information, the most recent information in there. So previously, I didn't point out this is very old test data that we have created, and it was like, I don't even remember what school year we had, 2014. And then I just updated it for 2025. So it would have kept that 2014 until it got updated. Let's see. And if you have post-secondaries, we don't want it to, if you have post-secondaries that are, you're going back and forth with name changes, this happens, it is very common. Um, we advise you to communicate with the post-secondary, but you don't have to keep like uploading a file. You can just come in here, and once you and the post-secondary have determined what the name, the first name, last name is going to be reported by both of you, you can just do a manual edit. You don't have to do an upload. You can just edit just that one single person at one specific time. I'm trying to think of some other information that we get, questions that we get. Some tips and tricks is that if you do have a lot of students and you do a file upload, I wonder, you can do a search. I'm going to see if we can find anybody that's done a. So everybody can see this information. You can see your school information. I can see a little bit more, but whenever your school is doing an upload and you're on your school, it's going to have your information up here, and you can see if somebody's done. You can do a search to see if somebody, if there's more than one person that has access to your system, you can do a search by batches, file uploads. You can do them by batch numbers, by status. This is a great example right here of a contact help desk. If there's a matching error there, you have to contact us. There's no way for you to resolve that. You have to send a ticket to NDE service desk to get that resolved. Our developers have to resolve that issue. We also have tickets that say I've created things and I can't find the number. I keep searching and the number is not being not populated. So we have different match statuses, and I am
Stacy Jocelyn Vogel has a question when you have a chance.
okay. So okay, this is the one I want. Isn't it ready for user? It's called near. Yep, there we go. Resolve near matches.
Near matches.
Yep. So if you keep looking and you keep searching, you can't find it. Some people don't realize that this home screen will have the actions. You can go through these resolve near matches, and your student's probably sitting in here waiting for you to resolve it. We do in our guide, we have step-by-step screenshots to show you and how you would resolve it and be able to match up so you're not creating duplicate tickets. Okay, somebody has a question. So Jocelyn, you can come off mute and ask your question.
Maybe we lost her.
Maybe we did.
Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Oh, Jocelyn, we can't hear you. Do you want to drop your question in chat if you can't get your system to let us hear you?
Oh yeah, she's off mute.
Yeah. No, you're actually muted, but for some, you're unmuted, but for some reason we can't hear you. Bummer.
Does anybody else have any other questions? We only have about 10 minutes left. Um,
We have a couple questions about access, and I was working on responding to them. But if
okay.
they, so
Okay. Well, if they can stay online at the end, we'll work with them individually. If they stay online on the end, we'll
thank
work
you.
into
I
it.
was just
Yep.
thinking about asking them if we could do that.
Yep. Yep. If they can stay on the end, we'll stay online and we'll get that resolved for them because we want everybody to have
Perfect. Yeah,
access.
we do. So, and that would be Jen and Cheryl.
Okay.
So,
Um, let's see. What are some other questions that we get um, that in our tickets?
hmm.
The resolve near matches. We can
Mm-hmm.
search that. We can sign, enter online, or upload a file. Um, we talked about that. Let's see who
Yep.
Wayne, you got any tips for us? Wayne's on the call, I know off the top of my head. No? Okay.
We also talked about formatting too. That's
Yeah,
important.
the formatting is very important. I don't have yeah, let's go over that a little bit. Let's go over some of the things that's a good one, Kim, because when I get a filed, here are some of the things that I'm looking for when I am looking at a file upload. So let's talk about that. Um, One of the first things I start looking for is if you have the formatting for the school year correctly, there's no dashes. Some people put dashes in, so there's absolutely no dashes. So it would be 24 or 25, 26 now. The other thing that I look for is the birth year. For example, my birthday is in August, so it would be '08, and it's '03. So it can't be the 8/3/, 2005. It has to have the '08, '03. So those have to be filled. The other thing that I find is a common error is there's confusion with, especially with non-publics. A lot of the non-publics know their school building number, but don't understand that there is a district code number too. So the first numbers of this right here, and then your school building usually is like '01, '02, '03 on the end. So your district code is going to be these numbers that you know for your school number, but it's going to be all zeros at the end. So the district code is going to have the zeros at the end. That identifies your school system. And then when you're in your person school code, that is going to be your school building number. That's going to identify the building number that that student is in. So if that building student is going to be in the elementary, which is an '01, and the high school is an '02 or whatever, it that's where you would identify that. And then another thing would be with the districts too. So a resident district, you would just want, we're not looking for the school code number, we're looking for just the district code number. And I do recommend, especially with lots of uh, different names like Kim and Kimberly, to complete the preferred first name and the complete the preferred last name. So that, and if you have the middle name, that would be great to add that information in the person ID too. That the more information you can give us is the better, and it will help reduce the duplicate IDs. Now, what happens if you do create a duplicate ID? You're just going to submit a ticket to our desk, and we are going to help review it. The process can take a couple days or a couple weeks, depending on how complicated it is and how much information that is in the advisor person ID for us. Okay, so is there any other question? I kind of feel like I'm rambling now. I don't want to keep rambling at people. Those are some things that I have found. Okay, Jen has got a question about the portal. Jen, if you can stay on, we'll help you work through that. It looks like you don't have an organization org or access to it. I'm just going to go back here and just do a quick overview just to, so this is, because this is so new that I want to just make sure everybody understands how to do this. So when we're in the new portal, some of you're looking at mine, so you're going to see all kinds of stuff. But some people don't have an organization over here, especially if you're non-public, if you don't sign in with a single sign-on system. If you do have a single sign-on system, that's great because it assigns all your educational organization automatically to you. But if you don't, then you have to request it, which means you have to go to the Profile tab, which is going to show you your information. And in one of those columns there, it says Request. And this is where you would look for your school name, and you would type that in. And I'm just gonna, you would type that in, select it, and then you would select a role. So some people are going to maybe work a lot of things in the new portal, and some of you may only access Advisor Person ID. And if you're only going to access one application, then I suggest that you do fill out the Advisor Person ID as your application and just select just for that. Either the district advisor person ID district means that you have edit rights. You can go in and create IDs, you can edit IDs, you can search for IDs. If you do read only, then you can only just search for them. So I recommend that you would select whatever is appropriate for you. And now if you do multiple things in the new portal system, then I got to clear this out. Then you have some roles that you can choose from. We are slowly creating these roles. If you do a lot of reporting, I would recommend that you use Data Steward non-public to have that as a role. The benefit of having a role is that anytime a new application gets assigned or gets put into the new portal, it's going to be automatically assigned to specific roles. And if it's assigned to your role, then when you go to your home page, it's just going to automatically be a tile that is showing you there. You won't have to request it every time. But not everybody does a lot of things, and maybe you have to request per application. So that is my quick little spiel on that. So it's 11:58. I want to honor everybody's time. We do appreciate you coming to our first Sift and Systems to talk about Advisor Person ID. If you have any feedback, please send us a ticket, and we're welcome to hearing feedback and new ideas. Or if you have further questions, please send us that. If you need assistance with getting onto the portal, please stay with us and we will help you get into that because this is a great time for us to help you. We are planning again to have Sips and Systems with in September sometime. We haven't confirmed a date, but we're going to be talking about for the non-publics, we're going to be focusing on staff reporting. So if you are one of the staff members that do the staff reporting, we're going to be talking about that. If not, you're welcome to leave, and thank you for joining us. I'm going to stop recording if I can figure out how to do that.